Her Excellency Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, our Chair of the African Union, President Lorenzo, Excellencies, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just start by saying I think I just ended a drought. It's a woman up here. It is an honor to join you here today on behalf of the Secretary General. President von der Leyen, I thank you for your leadership and for convening the Second Global Gateway Forum. I also thank you for your engagement at the United Nations General Assembly and your commitment to peace, to justice, to human rights and solidarity. The European Union and the United Nations were both born out of the ashes of a devastating war. Our partnership has delivered from humanitarian responses to climate action, to the protection of human rights. And the EU-UN Spotlight Initiative stands as proof because it was the largest global effort to end violence against women and girls. Together, we're now driving the twin green and digital transitions, shaping the Global Digital Compact, co-chairing the UN panel on critical minerals, and expanding digital access for children in Kenya. Our partnership has been central to so many achievements across pillars, and we do not take it for granted. Today, this partnership has never been more relevant or more necessary. The Global Gateway provides a perfect opportunity to scale up investments and to deepen the partnerships across the whole world. Sadly, conflict is spreading, inequalities are deepening, and climate shocks are intensifying. And we just had the Prime Minister of Grenada remind us that the Charter was in fact about we the people. But these headwinds are not insurmountable. We have the roadmap to overcome them, the 2030 Agenda, the Paris Agreement, and more recently, the Pact for the Future, that provide clear pathways forward. We also have the tools. Ours is an age powered by science, technology, and innovation, from renewables to AI, to life-saving advances in health and in agriculture. So now really is the time to use them for our challenges and the opportunities. Three imperatives stand out. First, that sustainable development requires finance, but it requires it at scale. It requires it with a sense of urgency. Official development assistance remains critical, but it's a small fraction of what the world needs. The SDG financing gap exceeds $4.2 trillion a year. ODA must be leveraged to unlock the partnerships of the private sector, international financial institutions and innovators, help us to create those enabling environments that we're often told that we lack. We must ensure that women-led enterprises and youth innovators can access that financing, because inclusive growth does depend on inclusive investment. The severe commitment provided a catalogue of recommendations that we must bring to fruition. The G20 leadership of South Africa has underscored the importance of debt, but also in their recent work on the cost of capital, the necessity for putting that at the centre of the discussions that we have in these 2 days. The second reflection on climate, the goal of limiting long-term warming to below 1.5 degrees Celsius must continue to guide all our actions, even as we cross that threshold. Just a few weeks ago, over 100 parties to the Paris Agreement came together at the UN Climate Summit to reaffirm their climate ambitions, and this was representative of 80% of those emissions. The Climate Summit demonstrated that many countries are stepping up, but not yet at the pace or the scale that's needed. Ahead of COP30, every country should finalise their NDC as soon as possible. Belém must succeed in doing a number of things delivered to keep credible the plan for 1.5, including the mobilization of $1.3 trillion annually in climate finance by 2035, and also providing developing countries with clear signals on how to exceed their targets and seize the opportunities in the clean energy transition. The third is perhaps the most important, on peace. We must ensure respect for the rule of law and the territorial integrity. In Europe, communities are shattered by the war in Ukraine. In Sudan, hundreds and thousands of civilians remain trapped under siege. Famine conditions persist, and humanitarian supplies cannot reach those in desperate need. In Gaza, countless civilians have been deprived of food, water and medicine while facing relentless bombardment, We need an immediate and a permanent ceasefire, the immediate and unconditional release of all our hostages, and the unfettered humanitarian access. Recent developments offer a glimmer of hope, and all parties must seize this opportunity to bring the conflict to an end. We commend the untiring efforts of the United States, of Qatar, of Egypt and Turkey, but also the voice of South Africa in ensuring that we bring to justice all those who should be. Meeting these three imperatives, finance, climate and peace, demands genuine partnerships, exactly what the Global Gateway itself represents. Its 360-degree approach recognizes what truly drives impact, combining infrastructure with investments in quality education, decent jobs, good governance and human rights. Digital connectivity becomes the gateway to health and social protection. Clean energy becomes the catalyst for economic growth. With only 5 years left to 2030, the Global Gateway can accelerate progress to the SDGs on the ground. In 122 countries, UN resident coordinators and EU ambassadors work side by side. Together, we believe that we can align the policies across sectors. We can strengthen institutions and build local capacity and systems. We can unlock innovative financing with development banks and private capital. We embed standards that reduce risk, and we can bring everyone to the table, our governments, business, academia, and civil society. This, we believe, is how we turn cooperation into prosperity, where people can see, they can feel, they can touch. President von der Leyen, Excellencies, the Global South, as we heard our leaders today, is not waiting to be rescued. It is shaping a new narrative on its own terms. Today, we've heard that affirmation and we've heard the solutions that have been put forward. We need to match those ambitions with increased action and ensure that the Global Gateway is a bridge to sustainable development, to equality and to human dignity for all. The World Social Summit in Doha will ask whether we're truly ready to put those values into practice. The stakes have never been higher or more urgent. The UN stands as your partner in this meeting at the moment, but also in bringing the voice of our 193 nations to this vital task. Finally, inspired by what leaders I heard today, if the world has taught us anything in the past few years, it is that dependency has been painful. For the time that we recovered from COVID, from the war in Ukraine and the security of food and energy that was put on the line, Sudan and Gaza, where humanitarian aid has enabled that things have fallen apart. But it's also told us that when we came together, we could produce the pandemic treaty, that the World Bank has M300 that will connect with electricity across Africa, 300 million. The energy transitions, and today the Global Gateway signals genuine partnership of interdependence where everyone wins. Finally, on women's leadership, I started on the drought, but I'd like to applaud the vision, but also the leadership of Ursula von der Leyen. You have lived your courage of convictions, and we look to you, and many stand on your shoulders. But we also need to celebrate in Beijing +30 this year that women must be at the tables in business, at the tables in peace, at the tables in every corner that will allow that half of our humanity that is underinvested. For no bird will fly on one wing. Thank you.